Okay, we need a motion to come out of executive session at 9:36 where no action was taken.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you, Daniel. Any discussion? Roll call.
Sykes.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Holgren.
Yes.
Bosberger. Obenmeyer.
Yes, and we need to take up case number 22-3, $2,000 for cremation.
Move to approve 22-3 for cremation.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any discussion? Roll call.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Bosberger. Holgren.
Yes.
Obenmeyer.
Yes. Okay, and we will get back on the list and discuss an act on purchasing striker evacuation chair. Leela was gonna take care of this. This is something we've had on before. Rochelle's here too. When did you show up? Just recently, huh?
She's my wingman.
Okay.
Morning,
Good
Leland
morning.
Lodge, York County 911. We're here, we put the chair back onto the agenda mostly because these quotes are expiring. The only one that was still active is this striker chair, and the striker chair was the one recommended by the fire department. Commissioner Rhodes did ask about the third chair, and we did get a response from them last night, so that quote has been updated for max ability for the EvacuTrack evacuation chair in the amount of $2,470. At this point, we're just seeking the commissioners' some guidance on this one last time, really respectfully asking for a yes or no at this point for a chair so we can move on with other items for the safety committee. Opening up to any questions that you may have. I know it's been a while since we've had it on the agenda.
And we talked briefly, but at the last time we talked, we thought maybe there was an opportunity to cost share or piggyback on
Yes.
with the hospital, and
There-
that didn't pan out.
No, there was an opportunity. They lost some employees in their procurement office. I've reached out to Jennifer a few times, and now I almost feel like I'm harassing her at this point with no progress moving forward, so I have not reached out to her recently.
Okay. So the recommendation would be to the particular one that the fire department
Yes,
is
correct.
recommending.
Yes.
Okay. And that's-
Again, we have the second option of purchasing that chair, that evacu chair, but we haven't had an opportunity to see that chair in person, so that's gonna be a blind purchase if that's the route you want to go. We don't know the quality of
Okay,
that chair, not seeing it firsthand.
sure. And the cost of this chair, brand new, is $3,917.55.
Yes, $3,917.55. That does include the wall bracket and the chair cover.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
So, I'm sorry, Jack.
The Security and Safety Committee has discussed this over some time. We brought it before the board, and we still recommend from that committee that we
Okay.
purchase this and move along with it.
Is there, because that committee does not have budget, do you have a recommendation of where to?
No, but you can give us a budget if you'd like. We promise to spend it.
Spend it right?
Wisely.
Up to the dollar.
No, we don't have a budget.
I mean, any recommendation of where to take it from?
General or
Wherever.
miscellaneous?
Okay. Go ahead,
Question
Daniel.
regarding the payment. I don't know as far as what the steps would need to be, but would this be something that, I mean, it's a safety item, it'll benefit multiple people if we have an incident where we need to use it, it's protection of the taxpayer in the county. So would it be something where ARPA would be a good use, since we don't have a line item budget for this type of a thing?
It, obviously, that's
Right.
open now.
Yep.
You know, so it sure could.
Yep.
If this was to go through today, is this an order, pay and then order,
Good question. Let's see.
pay when received?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I can certainly ask. fire tomorrow, so I can, if this is the option you want to go with, I'm sure they're willing to work with us within a day to give us
Okay.
some answers and extend it to make the purchase.
The reason I say that, Daniel, is because the ARPA, we are
Right.
on the cusp of our annual requirement,
Okay.
and it would be nice to just say we didn't
Sure,
spend any.
I hear you.
It'd be an
Yep.
easier report, just
Yep.
because of what's going on with who has to do the reporting.
Yep,
So, and that's
Yep.
done by April 30th, so, I mean,
yep,
after that,
right.
we're gonna get into spending it, so that's
Yep.
fine, but it would be nice for this report.
We can
Yep.
certainly still make the application to NERMA as well for their $1,000
Yes.
grant. Not to
Okay.
say that we'll get it,
Sure,
but
but we.
if we make the
I
purchase, the
forgot
safety
about that.
committee will make
Yep.
that application to NERMA.
Mhm.
Kurt? Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Did you have another one, Daniel?
I was just gonna say, I think, I mean, looking at the two different chairs and knowing that we don't, you know, don't get used a lot, I would probably I could stomach paying the extra, if we looked at maybe using some of that ARPA money, and going with the recommendation of the
Okay.
chair of the safety committee, also knowing that the fire department has used this chair before.
Kurt?
I think I've made my feelings clear on this purchase at a previous meeting. I think it's probably gonna go through. My only request is that it's not hanging in a public hallway, because I feel like we kinda get a little lackadaisical at times around here, just putting stuff here, putting stuff there. The public area is not storage. I mean, you wouldn't hang this thing in your dining room, your living room, in your home. You don't hang your vacuum up in your living room. So why on earth would you hang this out here in the public? Plus, if you hang it out there in a public area, it's gonna get tampered with, especially if you put it up on the second floor. It's gonna get messed with. So I think it needs to be hung in I understand it needs to be in some place where there's can be access to it, but it's also gotta be in a secure location.
Right.
So
Do you have
I just
any
wanna make sure that our
Yeah.
public walkways and hallways are clear, not just getting cluttered with a bunch of stuff hanging around everywhere, so.
So maybe like the first floor stairwell might be feasible. It, obviously meeting ADA probably, you know, like it can't be blocking the stairwell.
Right, yeah, I mean, just, as long as it's not in a public area, I think it'd be fine with me,
I'm guessing that the first floor is, if we're purchasing one, the first floor is where we want it, you know, to be centrally located.
so.
And
There's the clock in room over there.
I think that after our last meeting, you know, we had, unfortunate, somebody had fell on the steps, and that was quite a deal, so that kind of pushed me over the edge a little bit. You know, I mean, accidents do happen, and that step's on the inside where it's dry, it wasn't on the outside, so. Any other comments?
Do you,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, so do you think if we asked, them and committed to purchasing it, would they allow us to a month's time
Yeah.
frame?
To meet your ARPA deadline, absolutely, I'm sure they're willing
Right.
to extend that quote, knowing that we were gonna make that purchase, but we need to have it a month out. Yes. And if granted, I would have to make an adjustment to the emergency action plan to put the evacuation chair back in there,
Mhm.
so given today's decision, just know that would be another next step.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we move forward with the Stryker evacuation chair using ARPA money, and also making the application to NERMA for the grant.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any other discussion? Kurt?
So the total cost is
$3,917.55, that includes the bracket and cover,
and the NERMA grant could equate to how much?
1,000.
1,000.
For
So-
reimbursement, you can purchase it and they can reimburse you that money.
Okay, so then that reimbursement will then go back into the ARPA
Yes.
allotment, okay. Very good.
We got a second, didn't we? Yes. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Holgren,
No,
Osborne, Overmark.
Yes,
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
She's in.
Okay, discuss and act on adding York County Sheriff's Office, York County Corrections, York County 911 onto the courthouse phone system. And there is a cost to that one, and $15,179. Josh and Leila again. Leila's taking up permanent residence at the
I brought my coffee
table
up here.
there.
So, Josh and I are here to speak to you guys. Windstream got a hold of me back in December saying that our service agreement would expire in July of this year and that they would not go into another service agreement with us because the Mitel system that we're currently on is end of life. It is end of life in a stage of add-on sales or end of life June of this year, software design January of next year, end of device license sales June of 2024, and everything is done by June 2026. So we've done some research. We reached out to a few companies who are still service contractors with Mitel. There's Americom in Lincoln. We had them come out and survey our equipment. They did give us a quote on a service agreement of about $900. With that said, we have to upgrade this equipment at some point. It is end of life. So we can extend it another year and have Americom just service our equipment. We would have to buy some equipment as a fail-safe because you can no longer buy the equipment after June of this year. So we would have to purchase some just in case something was to break. Or we have to buy a new system or join the courthouse system. That is our recommendation to you, is joining the courthouse system. We had Marty with Central State Telecom quote that, and it was at that $15,000 figure. Opening up to any questions at this point for us.
One of the things I might add is that, you know, if we're going to go through and we're going to maintain the system that we have with those parts becoming obsolete and not being manufactured anymore, we'd have to order some of those parts before they come in. So essentially, we'd be ordering parts for a dead system. So this is something that's going to be happening one way or the other over the next couple of years. And we don't know that we want to spend thousands of dollars on the system. The other advantage of moving to the courthouse system is that we would be able to transfer calls and people would be able to transfer calls to us. So we would all be on the same system. We'd be on the same paging system. For a safety aspect as well, they already have access to one of those phones so that they can go through and that they can page things out if they need to from their system. But right now, from the sheriff's department or from the jail, we would not be able to page something from our side. So it's also one of those aspects as well. So there is some cost to it, but this is a cost that's going to be incurred at some point moving down the road. I just don't know if we want to throw a lot of money towards a system that we know is becoming obsolete.
Go ahead.
what does this 15,000 all include?
That would be networking, joining us into your SIP, your current SIP system, your phone system. It's a trunking system, and then purchasing the desk phones that have to go with that because our current desk phones would not work. Also, there, besides this cost, there is an unknown cost of yet where we have to transfer all of the current Windstream phone numbers that we have to Spectrum. And I don't know what that looks like yet. I've only had to do it once. If you remember having to work with Windstream, moving the police department's non-emergency line over to Windstream was terrible, trying to get them to have that work. So now,
You're looking forward to this.
oh, I am. It's the highlight of my 2022 year, working with Windstream. But we would have to move the sheriff's office non-emergent line, PD non-emergent line, comm line, our fax lines. We did find in that bill too, that's gonna have to stay there, are the two lines that go into the fire system for the courthouse. So just know that that's gonna have to stay. One thing I would like to add, we're currently paying a $900 bill to Windstream for all of these phone lines. When we move to your trunking system, that gets rid of a lot of phone lines that I had to use as dedicated outbound lines and redundancies. When you move to a trunking system, you've got 24 open lines to use. So the outbound and the redundancies go away.
That's a significant cost savings. I mean, from that $900, that could drop down hundreds of dollars per month in savings. So over time, you're gonna recoup some of this initial cost.
Is, like, this phone system then, is there like a address option where if there's, say, the clerk's office that has somebody that's like, you know, they need assistance, is there like a button you can push on these phones then that lets the
There's-
sheriff's office know? Is there, I know like where I work, there's an address button on our phone that you push and then state patrol comes down and sees if you're okay or not.
No, we do have a dress system outside of the phone system, but there is an internal phone paging,
Okay.
to which Josh was saying they don't have the capability in-house. We do. We have one courthouse phone in dispatch right
Okay.
now. If you pick it up and you leave it off the hook for 10 seconds, it automatically rings to us. So that's one safety feature.
Okay,
And then the internal paging.
okay.
Yes.
And so that would just bring everybody on the page then?
Yep, good question.
And I was looking through this quote to answer your question. Kurt, it looks like a majority of this quote is, most of it's equipment or licenses and things along those lines. It's relatively, it's a fraction less than 10% of that is actually labor. But it is pretty intense trying to go through and trying to get all of the lines switched over. They have to make sure that everything's functioning and working, and it's going to be quite the process going through. Like you said, it's not something that we're probably eager to want to take on, but we know it's necessary. And so it's, you know, it's just something that we're going to eventually have to do.
Did they give you a time frame on this?
Well, we'll have to be on Windstream's no longer gonna support in July. So
Okay.
I either have to have a decision by then, either go with Americom and then support the equipment that we have currently for one more year, or telling Marty you have till July to get it done, and he said that that was a feasible timeline.
Okay.
The biggest hurdle is gonna be getting those phone numbers released from Windstream and ownership over to Spectrum, and that was the issue I had.
And that's out of our control, that's. all
It
up to
truly is.
Windstream.
I can I signed the paperwork releasing, like the owner authorized the
Sure.
release, and then it's in their hands to get it done. Yeah. Nice thing is we can get out of, one thing with Windstream so far.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Normally, this would come out of a data processing type of purchase. And obviously, if it has to be done before July, this would be out of this budget year. I just got the new today. I haven't had an opportunity to look through it. Would that be your recommendation of hopefully where to take that?
Yep.
That
Yes, sir.
expenditure
Taking
from?
it out of data processing.
Okay. Okay. Well, it is something, now, Josh, you'd said, I thought in an earlier conversation we had, you had said that you thought the new bill was gonna go down to 200. Is it some of that change?
I think
thinking
that's,
change?
that's what they estimated it at. I don't wanna quote that in front of this board and have it come back as
Oh, I won't.
something higher. Yeah, I would, I tell you what, if I could say it was gonna be $100, I'd do that right now, but the thing about it is I, honestly, but it is going to come down. I would say, I'd be comfortable saying, minimum of dropping it by half. So you're talking $450 a month in savings. What happens is as we consolidate a lot of these things, just as we did with the internet project a couple of years ago, when we started consolidating things, we saw that a lot of the bills started to go down. We ended up saving, roughly $1,000 a month on that project. And now we're looking to do something
Okay.
very similar to this, where you're talking about getting those reoccurring costs down to just save taxpayer dollars.
I would echo what he's saying. I just counted up the lines that we would be getting rid of, and that's half the lines. So our bill would be at least a minimum cut in half.
Okay. Well, it looks like the data processing equipment would have plenty of room for this expenditure to come out of it at this point in time, and I don't, unless something drastic happens over the next 2 months, I would think we'd be okay with that. We would need a motion to move forward, unless there's any other questions.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we add the York County Sheriff's Office Corrections and County 911 onto the courthouse phone system with
Central States.
Central
Telecom.
States Telecom in the amount of $15,179. And that be taken out of
Data processing.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any other question? comments? Roll call.
Bowman,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes,
Bondsberger, Gross,
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. Thank you. Keep going.
Would you mind if we did voice products first, since Josh and I have, he'll support me in that one, and then I can talk about EMD, or would you prefer?
No,
How much
that's
do you want
fine.
today?
I'm sorry.
This is the NICE recorder.
The nice recorder,
Okay,
yes, sir.
discuss an act on approving NICE recorder system purchase.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I took this to my board and I was given the recommendation to bring it to you. This would be a new phone system recorder with many other aspects to it. It is a system made solely for law enforcement. We did update in early 2018, no, I was here, so mid-2018, to a phone system that was made out of the UK, and it is not made for law enforcement. So I'm seeking your approval to go with this new product. It would also allow the PD and the sheriff's office to tie into the system and do reconstruction. The really neat thing about this system is you can tie so many things to it, and it reconstructs radio traffic, phone conversations. So if I'm wondering why a dispatcher wasn't answering somebody on the phone for 20 seconds, it's showing it in chronological order of, oh, well, she was answering 9171 in its radio traffic. That's why she was absent from that phone conversation for 20 seconds. Right now, I have to write numbers down and critique it myself, and it's very timely. This has a quality assurance aspect to it. It has screen recording, so it could record all of the screens in dispatch as another quality assurance measure. It records text to 911 conversations. Right now, that only goes through the phone system. It's very antiquated. Whereas this will just tie into this system, and we can throw it into the reconstruction module of that as well. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
The biggest advantage for us from the law enforcement side is like she's saying, we have to go through and we're subpoenaed all the time to go through to get recordings of things that happen while we're on crime scenes, when people call in, when people go through and, you know, contact us for any general things. They can go through and they can get copies of those recordings. This recording system makes it a whole lot easier to access, plus then it would make it streamlined for law enforcement because we would have access to be able to get into that recorder. And then also the police department would also have access to get into the recorder as well, to be able to hear radio traffic from their officers, to be able to hear, you know, if a 911 call came in or things along those lines, to listen for, we've even heard background noises or things along those lines. Good recording system is definitely valuable from the law enforcement perspective.
I did request to my board that we would be taking this out of the 911 set aside fund at the wireless ratio of 81%. We are currently sitting at $250,000 in that account. We do have to spend that money down before we join the next funding model in order to receive more wireless monies from the Public Service Commission.
And the cost?
The cost of this is $34,061. Year one service agreement is included in that. Year two would be $8,436, and it would be roughly about that each year moving forward.
And availability?
Rephrase the question.
Availability, when would this take place? When?
Into the next fiscal year.
So you said 81% would come from the,
Set aside.
The set aside funds, 2914.
so then where's the other 19 coming from?
It would come out of 2910.
Her budget. Which is cost shared between us and the city.
Okay. Very good.
Good question.
Any other? Go ahead, Daniel.
Just a quick question. I was just looking through the proposal. The 5-year lease term with standard support, and then you had mentioned the monthly. Are those both, so there'd be an annual payment and then a secondary one, or am I not quite?
No, you can either make a one lump payment,
Okay.
or they're willing to work with you in a term lease.
Okay.
And that would include the price of the equipment
Okay, I
and
got you.
your service agreement, if that was an option you guys would like to do.
Nice. Okay, very.
Good question.
the board did meet last Friday, and recommended approval from that board.
PD would have access to the whole, to all that as well, right?
Correct, yes, all I have to do is just send them up remotely, and they would be able to go through, and then they would be able to access everything that we have access to, so it's combined, and I'm not positive, but I think the police department has their own recording system right now, and so it makes it consolidated, since it is a shared communication center at this point, it only makes sense to do this from one perspective.
One thing I would like to add to that as well is now that the sheriff's office and police department are joining the state radio system, the state of Nebraska uses NICE Recorder to record all of their talk groups, which we don't currently have access to. I just created the VPN tunnel for that to access it. If we were to go with NICE, we would sign a MOU with the state just to have the talk groups that we want tunnel in, and we have to pay a cost, which is very minimal. I think it's $7. $7 a month per talk group. Right now, I'm paying the $13 a month just to have the VPN connection, so that would be a savings there.
Go ahead, Dan.
So, reiterate for me, is this replacing anything or just streamlining what we manually do now?
It would be replacing the red box system that we currently have.
There's a
Yep.
trade in there, I saw.
Yep.
Now that you say that.
Yes.
And so, but this is more of an integrated product and more streamlined.
Yes, more law enforcement
Okay.
savvy.
Yep.
Yes.
Right now, just in time savings of trying to go through, it's very, very difficult to rebuild something. This was, the red box recorder goes through and it records well, but the issue is that the interface on it is extremely terrible. Trying to go through and trying to rebuild an event, because it doesn't necessarily tie events together where this solution does. And you can go back and you can catch the recordings, but you have to individually listen to every single one. You have to individually select every single one and then export them out in order to do that, versus this system would save a lot of time specifically for the communication center in trying to rebuild these events when they do get subpoenaed for records.
Sure. With the red box, are we paying a maintenance agreement on that would go away?
I'm glad you asked that. Yes, we are. We pay a $2,400 bill a year for a service agreement. Him and I split cost that.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that what the 26,988 is trade-in?
Are you saying that's the price of Redbox?
Right, that, on the proposal, there's a trade-in and discount.
What page is that on?
Page 4.
4?
No, I can't remember I don't know if this was, like something that they were doing at the time to give us a discount, but I can check into it. I think it was a promotion, that's what
Well,
I
I'm
was
just
trying to
wondering,
find.
because it says total price or
Yeah,
system
less
price
trade-in
is
and discount.
61,000, then total ownership price 34 with that discount, less trade-in discount.
No, I think it was a promotion that they had going on. I don't recall in the conversations and the demos that I've had with them that I would be trading in my current equipment to them. But I will get clarification on that. And my understanding was it was a promotion, and that's why I had asked him to extend this, because we had put this on the agenda for January 1, and I asked NICE to extend this quote so that we could keep that discount.
Okay.
Good question.
Any others? What's your feelings? This would be something out of the next year, 22, 23 budget
Okay.
for communications.
Yep.
It was what again,
34,000. And then yearly maintenance on year 2 would be 85.
Not 34 includes a.
That includes
year
year
round.
one. Yep. that
And
includes
once
year one.
again, 81% of that would be paid out of 2914, so I think the total cost out of your budget, out of your
Roughly
2910 is 6,000-7,000
20% of
Yeah.
that,
out of that budget. And we did work on our budget at the last meeting, and that was in there
Mhm.
already, so.
Mr. Chairman, knowing that the world that we live in and there's anything we can do to support our law enforcement and communications, I think is good. Knowing that we have the funds sitting there that can help with this, and it sounds like the board has worked through the budget to allow this to work in their next year's budget, I would make a motion that we go ahead and move forward with the NICE recorder system.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Osberger. Holgren.
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we get on to your next one,
Yes.
and we already took care of board equalization. I know you like to sit here with us, but we did take care of that.
Thank you very much.
You
Then I
bet.
go back to my office.
You can do that. Well, you can do whatever you want.
Thank you.
Were we gonna skip over the?
Yeah, Bill still, yes.
Would you like?
They're all here too.
Yeah, Harv, I'm sorry.
Would you like me to step out?
Nope, you're good. Harv, as you've noticed, Bill is not here today.
Yes.
And the last agenda item, without him being here, we're probably gonna postpone that too, until he's here. I mean, once again, you guys are more than welcome to stay, but would really like to have his feedback in on, as things out, he's the one that asked for it to be on there.
All right.
Okay, so, just so you guys know that too. Public service announcements are now over. We'll go back to the agenda, and Kurt, Leila wants to spend more money.
I promise you guys won't see me for a while after this.
She promises. All
I
right,
shot her down once.
As you all know, I am on the training working group for the Public Service Commission, and we created those baseline training standards, and those were enacted in January. Now the working group is working on emergency medical dispatch standards for the state of Nebraska. EMD is where dispatchers give pre-arrival information in medical circumstances, meaning CPR, Heimlich maneuver, control the bleed, that type of thing. Currently, it's a scary statistic that no more than half of the 911 centers in the state of Nebraska right now do not have those protocols in place, and that's why this working group is striving for that standard. So just know that is in the works, and we're gonna be seeing that in 2023, possibly 2024, now that we're getting a new project manager, and CP, we're a little behind schedule. But I brought it to my board in January that I was demoing and looking at 3 major products out there right now for emergency medical dispatching. My vote was APCO and Telecom. And having further conversation with my board, I thought it was a good idea to also go to Seward, Saline, and Butler counties, since we purchased a CAD system with them, to see if we could go to one solution and then split the integration cost. So between January and April, we re-demoed everything. Everybody really liked the APCO and Telecom solution. So I'm bringing it forward to you guys now that I've gotten the recommendation from the Joint Communication Agency Board to bring it to your table as well. This cost is $44,792.44. This could be used out of the set aside fund as well at 81% wireless ratio. There is a reoccurring annual maintenance cost of $4,000 that I would pay there on year 2. There is a integration cost of $18,400 that would be split amongst the 4 agencies to have that integrate into our CAD system. The neat thing here is that we would go to the Intellicom solution, it would prompt the questions, we would type the answers, and it automatically pushes it all to the CAD system. and our field responders who have NDTs, our officers can see that real time. And then when we push it out to our first responders who are IN responding, they will see those questions as well. And we wouldn't have to type questions and answers out. The system's already integrating and doing a lot of that work for us. I am opening up to any questions you may have of me.
Board did give this approval also. I think we find that Leela's very passionate about her job, likes to keep up on the high tech. We do have the Zurcher, am I saying that right?
Zerker.
Zerker, that was new to us, what, a year or
Yep,
so ago?
December 2020.
And that's why we recommended, once again, to set aside money. We'll take up 81% of this, which is a good thing that allows us to get some of these new products. Go ahead.
Something to be mindful of too, and I had expressed to the board, is that when this standard comes into place next year, you have half of the state going to 3 businesses out there that only offer this product. So we're gonna have a demand and supply issue, and then there's, obviously those businesses could raise their costs because they're getting a benefit from the state PSAPs needing to have the solution in place. So something to be mindful of. If we don't do it now, next year, there could be an increase in price and it could take longer to implement.
What's the cost on this again?
It is $44,792.44. It would be a $4,000 annual maintenance agreement starting year 2, and then a shared cost of $4,600 would be our part of the CAD integration, because we split the $18,000 between the 4 agencies.
And how long should this last before we'll need to do this again? Like, we're spending 44,000 now, is it gonna be another 5 years, we'll be spending 64,000, or is this something that should?
No,
should
I
hold
don't
this year?
anticipate, the maintenance agreement will cover any software enhancements needed. This is a, like, cloud solution, so there's
Okay.
no, they do include a proxy server in here at $4,500, and I don't think it's gonna be needed. I'm still waiting on IT and APCO to get together on that, so just know it might not be needed, and there would be a savings of $4,500 in this
Okay.
price.
Right, just curious.
Yeah.
So the effects of her budget, it was about 8,000.
Is she gonna have anything left after today?
Don't make me blush, Kurt.
Just happened that the phone system was in on these two
I know.
today.
I know. I mean, it
Makes
should
it
have
kinda
split it
tough.
up a little bit.
But it's, like Brooke said, we're in this day and age now where, you gotta be ready to go.
You know,
I think our community is very fortunate with how progressive our 911 center is currently, and to know that you have services of getting pre-arrival CPR is astronomical. Most of you know if you don't get CPR started within 5 minutes, survival rate goes down. And it's a scary thought to think that you can be traveling on the interstate right now and know that you have the ability to have CPR in Seward, CPR in York, but maybe several counties down, you might not. They will not give you it because they don't have that standard in place. So I'm blessed to be on this training working group and know that we're pushing for these standards, but I'm just trying to get ahead of the game.
And I think that was the board's opinion, is we're better off at the front side of this than we are at the back side next year when these training standards come into play, and then we have to, and like that, so.
So you just need a motion to authorize the chairman to sign something, or what do you? need
To approve this, if he needs to sign it,
Approve the APCO.
so be, and
Telecom.
this would come out of the 22-23 fiscal year,
So
not anything that I find tomorrow.
So you're looking for a motion to approve the APCO Telecom EMD purchase
Mhm.
and the Zerker EMD integration costs?
Yes, sir.
I make that motion.
Thank you, Kurt.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any other questions?
Just.
Go ahead.
To circle it back around,
Yeah.
so, this will give your dispatchers, steps that they can help someone
I'm glad you asked
Do
that because
CPR.
I didn't really give you an idea of what it does, but yes.
You started to,
Yeah.
and then I thought, I think we need just a little bit more clarification.
Yeah, so these are guide cards, so you're right, so they would bring up these guide cards and they would give you chief complaints, so you could have stroke, heart attack, difficulty breathing, not unconscious, a bleed control card. So we would go into that card and it would have pre-arrival instructions and they would ask their breathing status, their consciousness level, age, and then ask in greater detail, depending on that chief complaint, the type of questions and answers that field responders need to know the type of equipment that they need,
Sure. Yep.
personnel,
Right.
manpower, that type of thing. CPR card is in there, the Heimlich card is in there, but there is not any training standard out there currently that says that we need those guide cards.
Sure,
So,
right.
agencies are either using the old NESCA cards. NESCA is an old nonprofit organization, a local one to Nebraska that used to offer this training. And when the Nebraska Law Enforcement Training Center went to them and asked them for liability insurance, they said, we don't have any, and they're saying, if you want to teach this, you're gonna
Sure.
have to have liability insurance. And so they disbanded NESCA's EMD program because there was no legislation in place saying that we had to have it.
Right.
So that's kind of, between 2019 and today, everybody's kind of confused as to where we need to go
Sure.
on that. But,
Yep.
yes, guide cards, not only are we getting the benefit of having medical guide cards, we are also getting law and fire guide cards for free. So this is where we can standardize the way that we ask questions
Sure.
and making sure that we're getting a good response each time,
Right.
a consistent response.
Simply put, it's flashcards.
They are,
Yeah, sure.
except they're on the
But,
computer.
They're
And
on
then
the
we'll have
computer.
physical cards
Right.
too.
Okay.
If the system was to fail, we have physical cards too that we
Sure.
can flip through.
Okay.
We had a-
Also one,
Leave on a tornado, we can take one of those with us and handle emergencies on the fly.
the one, and this is, I don't even, but anyway, I'll ask the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
On the computer,
Yeah.
is it kind of a workflow, like, is it interactive in that, okay, this is an 85-year-old male,
Mhm.
then does that flow and are there different procedures or?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of
Right.
interesting because as anyone knows, the situation can deteriorate really fast.
Sure, yep,
Somebody could fall and all of a sudden they maybe had a rib puncture their lungs and now they're having difficulty breathing. It's really neat how you get to that breathing question and if they stop breathing, that card immediately changes
Right.
to a not breathing
Yeah.
part and now you have new procedures and protocols that you have to follow.
perfect.
Yep, so it's very streamlined.
Right.
Yeah. You also need to come in sometime, we need to
I
schedule
know,
that.
yes, I'm sorry
So you
that it
can see
hasn't
that.
worked. but
No,
we'll-
that's
we'll
okay.
Get it to work.
Yeah, we had sick people the day he was supposed to come in and I told him he probably shouldn't come in when we've got sickness in the office.
Anybody else?
Let's hurry up before she wants more money.
Entertain motion.
Eventually, no?
Oh, you did? Oh, I'm sorry. Went with that. It got carried away.
I know, sorry,
That's okay.
distracted everybody.
Oh, it's good information.
Roll call.
Holgren,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes,
Bonserver, Gross,
Yes,
Holfire.
Yes. Thank you.
gentlemen.
also helps with liability.
Very much, very much. And we want to give our
Don't run
community the
away.
best.
Don't run away mad, that is.
Run
Got
away
everything you
Bill.
wanted.
I have a smile on my face all day, sir. Thank you.
thanks.
Okay, next up is where my mind was at, I guess. We have got discuss and act on the final draft of the final statements. These was finished up in time. Time was last Thursday by nightfall, by 12 o'clock. The audit was tougher this year because of that single point, because of our federal dollars that we received. And everybody should have had a copy of it. We do have a hard copy. Did you say there was another copy for your reading pleasure,
Mhm.
if you want that? Kelly and myself spent a fair amount of time on this last week, and we had to go into the government's clearinghouse to do some reporting in there on all the funds that we received, which there was 10 different fund items that are listed out in here under the CFA report. and we had to put in where the money come from and just all this great stuff. We also have our 3 action plans in this report too, of how we're gonna handle some insufficiencies that we had in our our procedures, and those are spelled out in here also. So, other than that, the financials look good. It's really just the way we handled our federal monies. And those action plans will be in place at our next budget year, and how people will apply for it, how it will be monitored, and that.
It was the tracking of it. It wasn't like money went missing or was
No,
spent nefarious.
it was absolutely the
It was
tracking.
just how we went about reporting it. Was-
Right. Yes, when.
So
what-
no, there's no money, it's all accounted for, it's just
Abs-
how we accounted for it. Was
Yeah,
not
the
approved.
numbers look fine. What kicks you into the single point audit is $750,000. Bing. Well, the CARES Act was 500 and some of that. And, you know, we did a good job applying for it. We received the money. We just didn't do as great a job of tracking as far as this is what happened, this is where it came from, this is who asked for it, this is what came in. And that's where we failed, because when the auditor came, she asked for, where's this information at? And we didn't have a great answer. And then when she got all said and done, I believe on our CFR report, we were 1.3 some million. So we had blew the 750 out of the water. We will do better, undoubtedly. That was probably the biggest hiccup that we had. Let alone the fact you're on a brand new system, trying to get the information in there, which we had never done before, and then actually Kelly had election training Thursday afternoon, so I was in on her computer finishing up the process, and with the help of our auditor. So that's what we have. So now we just need to approve the final draft, which is right there. Any questions that I can try to ask or answer?
You said there's a hard copy of that someplace, right?
There's one here, and there's one on the table. And then you should add the PDF form.
Yeah. Sometimes it puts out and sometimes it doesn't.
Okay?
Move to approve the financial statements as presented.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second,
Thank you. Any other discussion? And then I believe we just need to get this minutes to Jill when we're done, I believe. Okay. Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Bulgren,
yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Osberger, and Oakmeyer.
Yes. Okay, next up is cleaning up one of the transfers that we get a list throughout the year. This is $62.18, what was left from the law enforcement, that was transferred from the inheritance. It was that one last little piece that was left in there. We just need to get it done before the end of the year. So Kelly had put it on for this time, so that's coming from 2940, which was the law enforcement building fund, or the 911 law enforcement building fund, and transferring that $62.18 back to the inheritance fund. And that will clear that one up.
That's a resolution.
Yes.
Move to adopt said resolution, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Kurt.
Second.
Thank you, Daniel. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Bulgren,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Osberger, and Oakmeyer.
Yes. Okay, next up, Daniel, I'm gonna let you take over. Discuss and act on resolution, Vernon County road ditches.
So as we've been discussing, and Bill brought it up last week, there's been some discussion regarding burning road ditches in York County. There's been some misinformation maybe, or some misunderstanding that the board and or the highway superintendent were against residents burning in the ditches. So in talking with Bill and in talking with Harvey, we thought it best to just clarify this board's position. So I've drafted a resolution. Bill not being here, he did share his backing. And so basically just stating that the county board understands that the vegetation management practice of burning road ditches is utilized by a number of landowners across the state of Nebraska. And that we understand the authority of the local fire department to issue burn permits as prescribed in statute 81-520.01. And so therefore, so ending the resolution, now therefore be it resolved that the York County Board, along with the Highway Superintendent, supports the vegetation management practice of burning road ditches in York County when the conditions are favorable and permits are issued by the local fire department. And I would make a motion to approve that resolution.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it for discussion purposes at first here.
Thank you. Discussion then? Go ahead.
We had talked about this at one other time, that maybe we just need to amend the current resolution that we adopted.
We did
or-
not adopt a resolution.
Or we,
We had a policy. May 18th of last year, we adopted a policy.
and that was more about
Encroachment into the,
the county right of ways, like farming the right of ways, grazing the right of ways.
That's what we did last year.
Okay, so it has so this is more about the Clay County attorney threatening to sue or prosecute
correct.
taxpayers and landowners in York County if they decide to maintain the road ditches.
Correct. Yeah, so
And let's make
currently-
it very clear, it's not the board wanting to do that, it's the Clay County attorney wanting to
Correct.
prosecute taxpayers and residents of York County.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. And in talking with Harvey, the practice of burning those ditches out clears out any of the byproduct from the field that has blown into the ditch. Helps clean that ditch out so that water moves as it should. If that continues to grow and build up, then we get water holding back and we don't get the flow that would be had if a ditch was clear.
Daniel, I'm glad you put in there about when conditions are favorable, because as you know, maybe you do or don't know, York Fire Chief serves on the 911 advisory, you know, that I also do, and I asked him last week if we're still getting calls, and he had said it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Because conditions, they wouldn't have issued them anyway
Yep.
over the last few months.
Right.
It just wasn't
And-
gonna happen. Now, there was a window in there, they obviously would have.
Sure.
But, you know, over the last few months, he
Right.
said even with the moisture we had in March, he didn't know that was gonna change, because
Yep.
it just was, you know, and I guess some of our neighboring counties had allowed them,
Mhm.
and then they got into a little bit of mess when they took off and went
Mhm.
someplace they shouldn't have, so,
Yep.
just to clarify that.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
So I'm
Yeah,
glad it's in there.
and I think it's important that, I mean, we support it, but it's still, the permit process lies with the local fire departments. And if they don't feel that conditions are right, they fully can
Say
deny
no,
that. Correct.
Absolutely. They have the authority. Any other discussion regarding this then? Willard, I see you had your hand up. Did you have a comment that you would
Well,
like to say?
you want me to come up there, or I'll just talk,
just-
which I always do?
Up front.
Willard Peterson, 514 Road 13, address is York, I live south of Bradshaw. I fully support burning road ditches, but by you guys' actions and talks and certain things, a lot of word that comes up a lot of time is liability. And me personally, as going through a road construction project where the road I was on was dusty and dirty and you couldn't see half the time. And I'm very thankful I'm still alive, and pretty much thankful that everybody else stayed alive, because we're really lucky there wasn't somebody killed because of lack of vision, being able to see. And that can be the issue during they're burning road ditches too. As far as I know, it's against state law to burn a road ditch along a state or federal road because of those things. And so I didn't know, when it comes to the point of liability, I don't want the county to end up being liable and paying millions of dollars to somebody that's killed because they're driving through smoke. And I'm just saying, I'm not against burning road ditches, but, you know, so that was a thought I had. And, you know, and you guys have mentioned liability as far as the county many times, so that's my only thing. The odds of that happening, probably not very high, but all it takes is happen once, and could be not, you know, not too good. And partly too, I have a road ditch I wish I could burn out, but there's high pressure gas line there, so I can't do it. So that's really what it's about. Whatever.
And part of this too is there's just flat out lies being told, Willard. And so
I
and
get
this
that.
is our way of clearing the record.
I get
But
it.
I understand
but-
I understand where you're
Right.
coming from too.
Yeah,
I appreciate
but
it.
I'm talking about in the overall
Yep.
scheme of things, you
Yep.
know, no
Got
matter
It would
what.
be interesting, is it the landowner's liability, is it the
Exactly.
county, is it the fire district
Exactly.
who authorized the
Yeah.
burn permit, so yeah.
Yeah, well, except that it's the landowner burning
Right, they're the one asking for it.
the county's ditch. you
It's
know.
their ditch.
Well,
just
it's
so
their
by the way.
ditch.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish Harvey was here, he told me my ditch wasn't mine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Willard. Any other discussion? Okay. What's your flavor?
Yeah, we did.
Motion.
Roll call.
No, are you ready? Yeah, you ready? Roll call.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Holgren,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Osborne, and Overmeyer.
Yes. Okay, and I would need a motion to postpone the next item to discuss and act on county employees' wages. Like I said, like Mr. Bouncberger was wanting this on there. I would like him present, even though he did say this morning in an early phone call, we can do whatever we want. I still would like him here to take care of it. I'm sure 2 weeks won't be anything major in that respect.
Make a motion to table, discuss and act on county employee wages.
Thank you, Jack.
Second.
Thank you, Kurt. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Sykes,
Yes.
Holgren,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Osborne, Overmeyer.
Yes. Down to committee reports. Who wants to go? Jack, you got anything?
I have nothing.
Daniel?
Not much to share. I was doing some review, and I'll get some information out to the commissioners regarding replacing our iPads.
Okay.
So that'll be coming.
Okay.
That's all I have to share.
Kurt?
Legislature, they're on day 53, so they have 6 legislative days left in their session. So far, 9/21, that letter that we authorized to send to Senator Coltman, that bill hasn't come up. I just don't know how they're gonna get to it yet this session, so I think we're sitting pretty good there. They are talking about sentencing reform in the form of LB 920. It's on the agenda. I don't know if they'll get to that today, just because I like to take a lot of time on stuff, like tax cuts and stuff like that. But we'll probably want to be in contact with NACO and maybe the sheriff's office too, and make sure nothing tries to get, you know, when you're talking sentencing reform, well, does that mean you do something to a sentence where they're in a county jail longer, for example? So we
Right.
want to make sure that NACO's on top of that, or the sheriff's on top of that as well, so.
I have a question, if I can, in regards to that, the sentencing changes and putting them in county. Isn't there another bill that's requiring the county or the state to fund non-funding liabilities, or?
Oh, there was a constitutional amendment that was,
LR.
Yeah, an LRCA, constitutional amendment, and, that did advance the first round.
It did.
And that's anything new after a certain date. And it's, I don't know where, I think maybe it was kind of given first round approval, just,
To put it on the ballot, however.
well, yeah, it's gotta go through the 3 rounds of debate, and I think it needs maybe a higher vote threshold in the legislature to go from the, on final approval. Then it goes on the ballot for the voters to approve. I just don't know if it's gonna get through the system this year, because they only have 6 days left. They have, this tax cut bill is gonna take 4 hours today, LB 920 there, that's the sentencing reform. That's on general file, so there's 8 hours, 4 hours, 2 hours, rounds of debate there. There's the constitutional carry, gun rights bill, that'll be 4 more hours yet, and then 2 more after that on the final reading. There's the abortion bill, which I just pulled that out of committee, so that has 8 hours of first round debate, 8 hours first round debate, then again, 4 and 2 of the next rounds. It's just looking like time's not,
Running out.
yeah, time's running out, and there's, I don't know that that's gonna go anywhere. Sometimes you just kind of give people a first round approval just to give them something more than I
It'd be
get.
nice to if they approve both of those at the same
You
time.
know, it's more than I get around here sometimes, so.
Okay.
Other than that, I mean, they're just, the budget's been approved. I think the budget, the state budget line item needles might be coming in today. The governor has to report those back, so. Other than that, I think we're sitting okay so far. The counties are in the legislature.
Did they probably won't get to that, what was that, 1250? That was that, budget, it was gonna clean up some of the.
They did, it was amended onto something. Kind of, yes, let me, that was amended, put on it as an amendment to something last week. I should bring that up. I think maybe that's in one of the NACO updates. I'll look that up real quick.
I missed it if it was there. Probably was. But that was one that was gonna clean up some of these budget requirements that we have this
Right.
big budget meeting, anybody goes over 2.5%, and so hopefully they address some of the issues that were concerns.
Yeah, I know, I remember Senator Hansen talking about it.
I'll have to look back through there then.
Senator Ben Hansen talking about it. Let me look through here while you continue on.
Do you have any report to report?
Otherwise, that's all I have at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Somebody asked to have a lemonade stand on the square, June 27th, Thursday.
Boost.
Summer Boost Acts of Kindness Week. Deb Seymour. I guess in the past, we've let them do, you
Is
know,
that for profit, or is that for raising money for something else, or?
I'm sorry, I don't know. I
We
never
could-
took the message.
Okay.
Summer Boost Acts of Kindness Week. She's got a number, we can reach out to her and then ask some questions. So, do you have anything else? Nothing about elections or nothing? Nothing you want to talk about? Kurt and myself did receive, it's a resolution that it was from MPPD. It's for the possible partnering about the feasibility study for broadband throughout the county. Now that we have this on the next agenda, we'll have something. We did have that feasibility study, which is kind of private, and we need to probably go into executive session to discuss that, then we can discuss this out of that. So I'll have that on the next agenda. We did receive from the city, there is going to be some ordinance amendments, and these will be taken up April 12th at 5:15 at the hereby given the planning commission to be held at the council chambers Tuesday, April 12th at 5:15 o'clock. The city of York will propose 3 new ordinances to permit cyber data center use in the industrial zoning district and special use permit in AL zoning district. So if you guys want to look at some of this stuff, you can, and that is just I think they had to tell us and they had to tell the school district.
But that's just for information purposes.
That's just for
right?
information, and if we want to be present at those meetings, because I believe one of them, the sites is out by the substation north of town, close to Horowitz out there. So that is information we received there. Last week was a lot of audits. Next week, I did ask to have the zoning meeting next Tuesday night at the convention center. And this, I just want to be very clear, this is a zoning for the whole county. I mean, this just isn't, we're just not talking about Hayes, we're talking about the whole county of York County. And we want everybody that can be there present. The only thing that was available that night was a room that seats about 75 people. I would think and hope that would be enough. That would be a combination meeting between us and the planning commission. That would be hopes that us and the planning commission could have just a conversation on where we see what zoning we want to deal with, any rules we want to adopt, ideas flowed through. I know I had a conversation with Daniel a little bit about this. I would really like it to be between us. The public will be more than welcome to be there, but it won't be a public hearing. In my mind, it won't be a public hearing. The public will have not only availability to us all the time, but they'll have public hearing through the planning commission meetings, and then they'll have public hearing through the meetings we will partake in this particular chambers too. So we will get that scheduled. I think we have the 5-day notice that we have to have that on. Go
Did you
ahead.
have a location, did you say?
It is at the Holdus Center.
Okay.
There'll be signs just like last time. Kurt, it was the same room that we was in, except for there was 2 of them. We were there for the feasibility study,
Oh,
but there's
one of
2
those
of
sign
them
rooms?
together. Yeah, and she said that theater style, they can hold 75 people with a U-shaped table up front.
Big enough?
That was there. I mean, I don't know.
We filled up the Stone Creek, we didn't, but they filled up the Stone Creek there with just that open house.
We're not offering free sandwiches.
No, but I mean, but what I'm saying, I mean, there's over 100 people showed up to that thing down there, or at the Stone Creek.
I don't know what to prepare for.
I know.
I really don't.
Is the Cornerstone,
7 o'clock.
is the Cornerstone building on the fairgrounds available?
I did not call there. I'm
Okay.
sure it would be.
All right,
I mean, I'm guessing.
all right.
I didn't expect this to be busy, because there's
Right.
something going on
Oh,
this
weeknight.
weekend that carries
Yeah.
over.
Mm.
Is the antique deal something this weekend, maybe?
Hey, you
I
would
think
think weeknight would be.
something is carrying over. Before we post, I mean, we can have it wherever you want. If you want,
Just, well, that's fine.
I don't know what to expect.
I know, yeah, it's,
We can,
This
because
first
there, we
meeting
can
that
just
we
set
saw,
up
like,
more
maybe-
chairs if we wanna check in up there, cause she just wrote my name down. I mean, we can,
mm.
I can sure check at the other place too, and then see.
Yeah.
You feel more comfortable doing it that way?
I would feel more comfortable just having a lot more space and hardly having
Okay.
anybody there than having people out in the hallway saying, hey, we didn't get to hear that meeting.
True.
And-
Very true.
And, you know, how rumors fly from there,
Yeah,
so.
okay. I will check in on that. Mowing, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because Mr. Zobek has mowed for us for years and years, and he no longer is going to do that. And he took care of where probation and extension is, and then, of course, last year, since we've been in aging, he's been doing that too. He has told us that the Ag Society will take care of probation extension in that area. We have nobody for over there, which made me think, well, we're getting close to our cemetery times. You usually reach out to those people, that's within a couple months now. So if anybody, I know Lori was looking, for somebody that could take care of it, but if anybody has any ideas, there is a need for aging to have mowing services done at. And then, of course, if you'd reach out to the others. Self-defense course for NERMA is this month. NACO's budget workshop courses are in May. I think the closest one for us was Norfolk, if I remember right, for NACO. Self-defense courses were cybersecurity, which is a pretty big deal. Four Corners sent out a letter to me. They are doing a roundtable discussion for healthcare access and quality access to transportation. I talked to Lori about this. She's gonna set in for the county on this meeting. This is a Thursday, this week, Thursday. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, so she's gonna talk with them about that. I guess I've been asked by NACO to be county representative to the Nebraska Public Safety and Communication Council. I've been talking back and forth with Ms. Menzel about that just a little bit. I sent out an email to all the county and department heads. Last week was the first day of our last quarter. Please pay attention to your budgets. We've got our latest one now, so we should be able to see where we're at and what budgets. We know of one for sure that is just drastically and not good. That would be corrections. We paid so much out of housing that it's, that one's just not gonna be in good shape. So hopefully the rest of them come out okay. Looks like Ann's got an assessment of renewable energy generation facilities, so this will be interesting reading as it pertains to what's going on south of us. Anything else that you can think of I missed, forgot? I'm sure there was something.
I have an
Kurt.
update for you. You were asking about that postcard bill.
Okay.
Did get amended. Those provisions got amended into LD 927. And they were adopted, and it, you can read the flip notes from that. There we go, okay. Would clarify that the initial cost for printing the postcards showing increased tax asking, so the postcards they send out for those groups, would be paid from the county general fund, then charged proportionately to the participating political subdivisions based upon the number of parcels of each. The joint public hearing for counties, cities, schools, and community colleges would be organized by the county clerk or his or her delegate.
You heard your name.
So I guess the deputy's got a new task.
Well, and they told us that at the chairman's workshop, that the budget workshops, any changes they would deal with, so that there should be information at the budget workshops about what was adopted and how we handle it. So it'd be a good idea. I don't know who all plans on going to that, but
Yeah, you
like I
put me
said,
down for that. May 12th one,
Norfolk.
yeah.
Yeah, what is Oglala and Norfolk was the
I think
I'll
two
be-
places,
I'll probably go to
right?
Norfolk.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay. Anything else? We're adjourned. We are adjourned. Thank you.